Let's speak to Mica Mosbacher, who's on the National Advisory Board for Trump's 2020 re-election campaign. Mica, thanks for coming in. Happy New Year. So good to see you again.
Happy New Year. You know,
everybody wants this government shutdown to end, but neither side wants to do what it takes to compromise. What could President Trump do that his base would tolerate on the issue of immigration that would be a compromise?
well, first of all, Caddy, what's going on in the U.S. is similar to what's going on in the U.K. Bipartisan legislation seems to be as tough as putting socks on a rooster. And what President Trump has done already is to extend a very reasonable offer. He's provided a 3-year temporary extension for the 700,000 DACA workers that are here in the United States.
But he got hit by conservatives on social media saying that was amnesty for illegal immigrants.
It's not amnesty, but President Trump did hint that if the Democrats were willing to come to the table and negotiate, that he would consider a permanent pathway for the DACA workers, or so-called dreamers in the United States. But he also has made other concessions in the form of an olive branch, $800 million for humanitarian relief on the border, additional judges, which we desperately need, additionally personnel, and other concessions. Our problem is that if the Democrats are going to stay in their corner and not come to the table and negotiate, not put forth a reasonable counteroffer, we have no starting point, and so the do-nothing Congress is now a do-nothing House.
Can he carry his base with him on the concessions that you've just outlined, and potentially on the idea of giving green cards, giving them legal working status to dreamers, to those kids who have been brought here illegally? Can he carry the base?
Yes, because I know that we have some very loud conservative voices in the base, but they are actually far right, not hard left, as what Nancy Pelosi, for example, is dealing with. I think that she is really kowtowing to her base, the extreme leftist wing of the Democratic Party. But the answer is that despite the polling, I think what's going on in this country is that individual Americans who are suffering, I have friends and family who are suffering through this, can't live paycheck, without a paycheck. I think that at the end of the day that the Democrats will pay the price going into 2020, especially those who are up for re-election, the centrist Democrats. So I think Nancy Pelosi has a problem, ultimately.
Mica, Happy New Year from London. Good to see you.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. Let me put that poll back up again, just to show our viewers. 31% want him to stand firm. That is pretty much reflective. You will know, as someone who sits on the National Advisory Board for Trump 2020, you will know that's pretty much reflective of where the base is. You've got to expand beyond the base. You've got to get those floating voters. Does it not worry you that he can't seem to do that?
A recent poll came out showing that President Trump has gained several percentage points with Hispanics. So Hispanics also understand the importance of border security, and this is so much more than just about a wall. Democrats supported this legislation in the past. The immigration system in this country is broken. It has not been fixed in decades, not even when Obama had the majority in the House. And so I think that at this point, Americans would like to see a solution. They would like to get back to work. Again, it is up to the Democrats. If they sit in their corners and pontificate and blame, we're never going to be able to accomplish anything. The vote tomorrow is very important in the Senate because it is showing some movement. There is some room for negotiation. I agree with Caddy. I'm not optimistic that it will pass, but it will at least put those senators on record for what they are standing for. And I believe that Republicans, even Senator Romney, who's been so critical of President Trump, will stand together united, and that would be very important for our party.
You said at the top there that bipartisanship is as hard as putting socks on a rooster. This is not the best start to the Trump-Pelosi relationship. Is this indicative of what we're going to get for the next 2 years? Gridlock?
I certainly hope not, is why I support term limits. And you know, Senator Ted Cruz, who called our Congress a do-nothing Congress during the 2016 presidential election, has proposed a bill for term limits. I think that Nancy Pelosi does have a problem. I think with so many individuals entering the Democratic presidential race, we're going to see a split down the middle between some of the new energy. Ocasio-Cortez, she's too young to run, but she represents a very hard left line in the party, versus a more centrist individual such as Nancy Pelosi. And remember, 15 freshman Dems did not support her for Speaker. So I think she's got a bigger problem going into 2020. And they need a win, let's face it. They need an accomplishment, and bipartisan legislation would be a real step in the right direction.
Mica Mosbacher, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Mica there from the Trump 2020 campaign.